Ritual is not about perfection, it's about presence. It's not about the candle, the journal, the yoga pose. It's about the moment you remember who you are, truly, deeply, and at that moment, when you choose to come home to yourself, that is the reconnection. Hello, and welcome to the Philosophy Podcast, where we get to explore the art of intuitive healing and holistic leadership. I'm your host, Fiona Finley, the professional chatterbox, business mentor, nervous system nerve nerd, and forever student of what it means to find true freedom in life. This podcast isn't here to give you all the answers. It's here to remind you that you already have them. Philosophy is my flavour of wisdom, and I'm here to share my story just so that you know that you're not doing this alone. My hope is that by sharing my experiences, you'll find something in common, something that lands, and something that actually helps you deeply connect with your own truth. With everything that I offer, I invite you to take what you need and leave what you don't, and let whatever resonate land in your body of wisdom. Whether you're here for a deep healing, conscious leadership, motherhood support, entrepreneurship, or just to reconnect with the version of you that's been waiting underneath all the noise and overwhelm, welcome. This space is for exploration, transformation, and discovering what true freedom really feels like and looks like for you. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Philosophy Podcast. I'm your host, Fiona. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you something that I often return to time and time again because I still haven't nailed it and I often forget about is all my rituals that bring me back to myself. So yes, I'm going to be talking about my experience, but it's about how it lands something inside you. So something that you can recognize and you're like, oh, I do that, or that's interesting. I've seen other people do that. And that is where the beauty starts to unfold. You start to draw the parallel between someone else's experience and your own. So today we're all here about rituals. It's about that feeling where you've got this, your intuition is on point, and you're feeling very settled in your decisions and your day. Because what I found is that you don't need a perfect morning routine, and you don't need to sit in hours of silence contemplating life, trying to reduce all the mind chatter. What you need is something that actually helps you plug back in to the real you. How do you quieten down the noise and the distraction from your day, from your mind, and just be able to sit in yourself and to hear the real, true wisdom that tends to bubble up? And it often gets overshadowed and talked over by a lot of the things in our to-do lists. Just last week, I put myself in a conundrum. And basically what I did is I thought that I wanted to become a psychologist. Now, to do that, I went down the deepest rabbit hole you could imagine. I have all the spreadsheets, so feel free to DM me if this is something in a path that you're looking at. I can help you out here. I went down, a week, I think it was, looking at the types of courses, how much it's going to cost, what my time factor is going to be, how much I need to be able to give on a weekly basis. Long story short, it came up with 4.5 years of my time, over $100,000 Australian. And even though I've discovered that I can't do 4 subjects a day, there's some courses that offered 1 subject at a time, but a rolling, quite intensive way of doing it. And this appealed to me, so naturally I went down there. And at night, I would be up all night looking at all the APAC, the psychology college, and what the internship looks like, the hours, the 1,800 hours. What does that constitute? And it was a very boring PDF document, but I was in there. I was absolutely manic because I was determined to understand what this opportunity was and how it represented my life and all those sorts of things. Fast forward to the end of the week, and I realized I love my business. I love what I do. And getting a psychology qualification isn't going to help my clients, my businesses I work with, or even myself. So it was a week of that. And how I got to that point was I had to tap back into myself and find a way to listen to the real Fee, not the egotistical, I call her Veronica Fee. And how I knew I was actually listening to the real Fee was that she was calm, she was compassionate, she was still open. And then there was this sense of groundedness. And when I get into this flurry of manic, I need to know, need to do, I've lost all that. Ritual is not about perfection, it's about presence. It's not about the candle, the journal, the yoga pose. It's about the moment you remember who you are, truly, deeply. And at that moment, when you choose to come home to yourself, that is the reconnection. What I realized is when I'm in this massive manic state where I'm super focused, hyper focused, I've actually lost connection. Now, my full body belief is that we are very complex beings. And it's more than just having a healthy body and mind. It's about having a healthy relationship to spirit, whatever that looks like, whatever terminology that looks like, something that is greater than our intellectual selves. So when I'm able to pause and have a look at where my guidance is coming from, if it's coming from my intellectual self, a lot of the time, my intuitive self or my wiser self is not even part of the conversation. And this is where I start to highlight for me, when did I sit down and tap in? When was the last time that I was actually quiet and not trying to be doing something or productive on something or achieving something? When was that? Rituals don't mean that you have to do them every day, because for me, when I do things every day, I actually become complacent and then it becomes white noise. I'm not really present. So I use lots of different things. Hello, just a quick pause to drop something into your heart space. If you've been craving clarity, momentum, confidence, or just a tiny spark to remind you what you're capable of, this is for you. I've created a 14-day self-trust challenge because I know how it feels to get stuck in overthinking, overwhelm, self-doubt, and to constantly put everyone else's needs before your own. Hello, fellow people pleasers, I see you. This isn't about more hustle. It's about coming home to yourself gently and building the muscle that matters. So for 14 days, you'll be building your self-trust muscle, and I'll be cheering you on every step of the way with simple daily check-ins and reminders. There's no overwhelm, no fluff, just small, soulful shifts that's going to build real confidence, clarity, and inner strength. And the best part, it's only $14. That's $1 a day to invest in your wiser self and finally gain the traction towards the life you're craving. Head to the link in the show notes or visit my website at fionafinley.com to join now. And don't forget, Fiona is with a double N. Thank you, Mum and Dad. You're more than ready than you think, and I'll be right there with you. So let's get on to, what is it? I start to notice when I'm disconnected from my spiritual self and my insight, I'm very micromanaging something. I am super detailed on the things. I have no concept of time. My energy levels are at an all-time high because it's a real cognitive payoff for me to be able to come up with this spreadsheet and go, oh, yes, I've got it. I'm starting to put the pieces together. This is fantastic. Now, that's just one example of me coming up with an idea. I might become a psychologist today. The other things that happen is when I buy a house, when I look at a new school for my child, or whatever the thing is, I get super focused on. And it can be a very positive thing. However, maintaining my connection to spirit is very, very important, because it's not just a disconnect from spirit. I don't do my exercise. I don't feed myself properly. I don't nurture my mind. All the mind, body, soul, holistic practices actually start to go and fall away because I am so super focused on the thing that I'm trying to nut out, do, understand, paint a picture, achieve, whatever the thing is. So Here is where we get to talk about what are the practical takeaway things that you can look at. I really invite you to think about the times when you've got this niggle, this problem, and you're going to research it. You're going to understand it. You're going to come away with an action plan from it, and how much of that project is actually micromanaged. Do you feed yourself properly? Are you hydrated? Are you sleeping properly? Are you nourished with your connection to people? Is that something that happens, or do you also find that it starts to reduce in other areas of your life? If that's the case, that is totally okay. This is not about saying what's normal, what's abnormal. The thing is, we are complex creatures. When we get thrown into the world, those complexities actually get unearthed, exacerbated, dampened, redirected, all sorts of things. It's very, very cool. So, here I'm giving you what I find as practical tips to bring myself back home. Number one for me is definitely water. So, it's a bath, it's a swim. I ended up lying on the ground, and we had massive flooding and rain for the past month, and I just needed to ground, and I was sopping wet. My dogs loved it because I was at their level and I got to play, but I got to lay on the ground and it actually grounded me. So there's grounding. There's journal prompting. I do journal prompting, but not all the time, because sometimes it actually feeds my manicism, if that's such a word. It feeds my disconnection. And then the other thing that I really love to do is Kriya yoga. So Kriya yoga, there's all different parts to it. So there's the breath work, there's some asana, some posture. But what I really find to be grounding is the cardinal four directions. So basically, it's like a sense of gratitude, but it's also an act of surrender. So when I'm really puzzled with an outcome or what action to take or what to do or feeling hopeless, I like to look at these four directions. First up, I could be just sitting in a cross-legged position, doing some breaths, and then I'll move to the east and I'll give thanks for just being, for the fact that there's light to the east, because that's where the sun rises. Thank you for existence. Thank you for light. Thank you for everything, because we are what we are because something decided to give us this life and this existence. And then I look to the north and then I say, thank you for my wisdom and knowledge and tapping into something more than just my intellect. Thank you for that, because I believe when I look into the north, it's actually the ocean, just the way the bay is. And I just see this infinite expansion, all connectedness. And it's something that I cannot cram in between my ears, right? So I'm just super, super grateful for the connection and the fact that wisdom will come to me when I need it the most. And then I turn to the south and I thank Lakshmi. Lakshmi is a deity in Hinduism, and it's something that we look at even in yoga. It's about abundance. Thank you for my abundance. Thank you for always providing when I need something, whether it's food, shelter, love, I'm always provided for. And it's true, Lakshmi is always there. Sometimes we think that they're not, but it's amazing when you really start to dig into that gratitude. And the other thing is, when you're starting to do these four directions, you're not just praying to the four directions. You're thinking and you're feeling and you're changing your biochemistry. So it all comes down to the nervous system, right? You know that I'm a nerve nerd. So when you start to change your biochemistry and you start to change how your nervous system is regulated, that just then starts to engage different parts of our beingness. And it starts to calm our excited manicness or even our depression. So the West is to me about surrender. And when I surrender, I put myself in this, it's like a Buddhist pose of some of the gods where they just have a knee up and they surrender. Some people like to fully lay their body on the floor with the palms up. I just surrender. I hunch over my knee because I have one knee up, one knee down. And I think, thank you. Here, I'm giving you all my worries, all my concerns, all my hopes, my desires, my fears of whatever the thing is. So, with regards to my psychology question, I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to give it over to you. I'm going to let somebody else decide. I'm going to show you my desires and my fears. Because a lot of it was, oh, wouldn't it be great to be a psychologist because I don't have to hustle for clients. I'm going to be able to get referral patterns a lot easier. It's not the point, right? So letting that all go, giving it over, and that actual sense of surrendering and physically feeling that giving over to something else, it changes my body. I can feel this wave of relaxation and this lightness. So before that, it's feeling heavy because it's up to me to make these decisions. It's up to me to come up with the decision-making process and the action, and then the responsibility of that action. Blah. That is so, so heavy. So I gift it all. And when I do this, I envision Durga. So Durga's another deity. Basically, she's this placid, beautiful lady that sits on a tiger. And when she has to, she brings out whatever tool she needs to get rid of the issue or to just sit peacefully on her tiger. You don't mess with Durga because she knows her stuff. She can be peaceful and feminine and just being. And then if something comes up that she needs to pull out a resource or a capability, or she has to do something, she knows exactly what tool to use to efficiently deal with the problem so then she can return home to herself. And that's what I envision in my mind. So all this goes on. And when I get up off my mat, basically I get this sense of elation, like anything is possible. And I also have this groundedness of you're not doing this on your own. So this sense of co-creation actually comes up. And this is something that I just find is really grounding, beneficial. I hope helps you if you find this helpful. If you want to study more about Kriya yoga, I'll put some notes in there. But you don't even have to have a regimented religion around this. It is that sense of gratitude. It is that sense of surrender. And then I guess at the end of it, my daily mantra is hold it lightly. And I forget this, even though this is my daily mantra. There's no point me writing it everywhere because I stop seeing it. If I see it all the time, I become immune to it. I think this is life's way of just gently giving us that resistance to strengthen what it is inside we need to focus on. And it's such a beautiful little dance that we do between disconnect and reconnect that it's absolutely normal. It's absolutely okay. This is where I think we start to see the difference between people that have resilience and the people that are wanting more resilience in their life. If you feel guilt and shame for thinking and expending all that energy and time and effort, the process of whatever it is, say it's the psychology degree, and I didn't, because I didn't end up doing it, but it's like, oh, what a waste. And you're kicking yourself for it. It's not the point. The point is that I was going to be disconnected from source anyway. And this just happened to be the catalyst that provided that, you know? And then what's so nice is that I've given myself permission to reconnect, reevaluate, and then decide. So this happens all the time. It's like if you're in a conundrum about your career, if you're trying to launch a product in your business, if you're just trying to launch a business, there are so many decisions that have to be made. And what happens is the more decisions that you're being called to make, sometimes the more disconnected you get from yourself. And it is totally okay. It is totally normal. And all you just need is some tools in your toolbox to bring you back home. And that bringing back home, like bringing yourself back home, is how you actually get to reconnect to yourself. You get to reconnect to your purpose and your values and what it is that you're here for, and it's just that gentle reminder. Because even when we're in that state of pure joy, we don't get to experience all that other really deep stuff because you're in the joy. And this is just another part of the rainbow of spectrum that we all get to feel the squeeze, feel the disconnect, and then with practice and awareness and a lot of self-compassion, you bring yourself back home. Because if you're a parent, you're going to see your kids do this. And rather than say, well, that you made a decision, that wasn't you. What the hell was going on? It's like, oh, I see what happened there. Yeah. How do you feel about that? And how are you going to come home to yourself? How are you going to bring it back to your ethos, to your values, and to your purpose in the way that you want to live? Because we all get flavored at some point, whether it's by our peers, our workers, our TV, or whatever the thing is. How do you come back home? So if this has resonated with you, please feel free to drop me a DM in Instagram. I respond to all of them. I don't have my VA answering any of those. I do have a nervous system course if you're interested. And it's purely just to have a look and understand what's going on in this time of manicism or this disconnect, and it's about understanding your body and your thought process via your nervous system, because it all does come down to our nervous system because we're human. So, yeah. Until next time, keep calm, cool, and connected, and I will see you soon.